Hello and welcome to Rose Cottage Notions, where we talk about history bounding, historical clothing, courage, and creativity. Today we're going to have a look at the planning process and mock-ups for the Forest Wanderer outfit that I will be making a part of my new capsule wardrobe. In the previous video in this series, I shared my initial planning process from inspiration to technical drawing. I'll add a card up here somewhere and we'll link to volume 1 in the end card. For this outfit, I'm making a wool vest based on a Black Snail pattern, the 1890s skirted waist jacket. I've changed some of the details and I'm adding some wool appliques. The skirt's based on a generic walking skirt, which will keep my legs nice and warm. It too will have pockets. I have a commercial pattern that I plan to adapt. I'm sure that the outfit I design in my head right now will change as we get deeper into the project, and that's okay. When we sew for ourselves, we get something unique and perfect for us. So let's get started, shall we? I don't consider myself terribly organized. I was rather shocked to learn that some of my coworkers think that I am. I'm pretty sure that I'm one of those who really need to overly organize in order to control the utter chaos that's in my brain. So giving myself structure is really important if I want to complete any task. I haven't always been able to set up systems in this way I do now. ADHD wasn't even a thing when I was young, but boy howdy did I exhibit all of the behaviors found in young women. I wish I could say that I approach every sewing project with coordination and grace. I usually just grab some fabric and burn some incense and dive right in without much forethought. But I bought this shiny notebook a while back and I think it'll work well to create a system for my sewing projects. We will see if I can maintain that focus in order to fill out the journal. It could happen. The journal is a fairly large one with a dotted grid on the inside. I like the heavy paper, which is important because I like to glue stuff to stuff. And this will be able to stand up to the inevitable punishment it will endure. In my previous video, we went through my preliminary planning process from thinking about shenanigans to starting to design the garments. My process starts with a Pinterest board and ends up with many different iterations of possible garments. Today we're going to take our fashion sketches from the last video and continue the project. Once you have your sketches or a scan of the pattern, if you're using one, you can get your scrapbooking mojo on and do a layout that you like. I'll put a link in the description where you can download the journal elements that I made for this project. What you put into your sewing journal is really up to you and how you sew. Like everything else in life, there is no one true way. You are using your creativity and gumption to create clothes, so you can create the planning process as well. I start with the fashion illustrations, and in this case, it's the whole outfit. I will also put in the technical drawing. I've tarted these up a little bit with some cool coordinating backgrounds, but it's not really necessary. I just figured since I was making this for a video, I would prettify it. I put in swatches of fabric that I plan to use using double stick tape. If you wanted to get fancy, you can sew it to the pages. The next couple of pages are for the details of construction and materials. Here's some information that you could put onto these pages. You could talk about fabric selection or the notions in haberdashery. You can talk about pattern design, what kind of supplies you need, what thread you'll be using, the needle, the stitch length, the width, the tension. You can experiment and write those kinds of things down. This will help you create a shopping list. You can put in your swatches of fashion fabric, the lining, the interfacing. You can also put a note in there asking if you've pre-washed your fabric or have you ironed your fabric. Sometimes I need to be reminded to do those things. I need to give my squirrel brain as much help and structure as possible. Time blindness is a very real thing for me, and even though I've been sewing for 50 years, I still take time to think about each step and write it out. Once I have this in my brain, then I pull up my Google Calendar and rough it out. Given that I am trying to complete this outfit in time for the next video, I have 3 weeks to do this. I put the skirt last as I can use existing wardrobe items if I run out of time. Yeah, that time blindness thing is real. I start with the date I need to have this completed. I'll need to film a reveal in a quaint woodland setting, otherwise known as a carefully framed area of my backyard. I try to think about how long I think it'll take me, and then I double or triple that. And the fact that I work a full-time job, I'm a union president, I do clothing coordinating for royals in the SCA, and sleeping, eating, and spending quality time with a spousal unit, this leaves about 2 to 3 hours on a weeknight, 4 to 8 hours on a weekday. I was initially leery of the downloadable patterns, but I've really come to love them. The paper I print them on is usually reused and has printing on the other side, but I can recycle my office paper this way. Scraps from cutting out the patterns end up in my compost bin. Another advantage is I can print a fresh copy each time I do a project. I mean, who doesn't love a cut and paste and tape project? At least I don't eat the paste anymore. It's a bit of a puzzle putting the pattern together, but there's usually a diagram to help out. I still have to stop and think and figure things out, but I guess that's half the fun. Once I get the pattern together, then it's time to cut out the mock-up. For the mock-up on this project, I'm using old sheets I picked up at thrift stores and charity shops over the years. It's very cheap, and most of my mock-ups get recycled into wash or wee rags unless I keep them for a future similar project. Sometimes I can use the mock-up to make a simpler version of whatever it is you're making. I tend to use a Sharpie and mark all over my mock-up, so it rarely gets used into anything I would wear outside. So don't be shy about making changes and marking up your mock-up. I hand sewed together the mock-up with fairly large stitches. This allowed me to easily ease in some of the seams, and it didn't really take that much time. Once the mock-up was completed, I could start to test the fit. Because I'm not wearing this over a corset, I will need to move the bust point and front darts. I'm not using the sleeves, so I adjusted the arm's eye to accommodate the shirts I will be wearing underneath the vest. The dropped waist didn't really look good on me, so I raised the skirt to attach at the waist, and I'm considering combining the bodice and skirt to give a smoother fit over the waistline. I will be adding pockets, and I really haven't decided quite how I will do that. I may need to check out some of my patterning books to see if I can get any guidance. So now that I know what changes I will make, the next step will be to alter the pattern. And we will see if I have time for a second mock-up. So this is the plan. Wish me luck. It's been about 3 decades since I have done any kind of tailoring, so this should be fun. And I'm really looking forward to making something that will last me 3 more decades. But this is really why we sew, to make just the thing we need, to make things that are better quality fabric, have better sewing methods, to utilize recycled and upcycled, and dive into our fabric stash. Too often in life, we are presented with carbon copy material goods that are extractive and harmful to the environment and our future on this earth. Fast fashion is just one of the many polluting industries. A bit ago, I posted on my Instagram that I was making a pair of 1940s linen pea-proof underpants, and folkware patterns commented, "Well, we sew what we need," and that's so very true. And if I can add a bit of streaming television pop culture to paraphrase Lucifer, sew what you desire. In the description below, you will find a link to download the sewing planner elements, and you can print them on sticker paper or go crazy with your own planner or journal. I also wanted to share that my collection of Halloween t-shirts are in my Etsy shop. You got a peek of a few of them, of my shirts, in this video. Remember what I said about sewing what we need? Well, I designed the t-shirts that I want to wear, and I hope you like them. I will be releasing a new collection of t-shirts later this month, and of course there will be a link below. So thank you for spending some time with me today. I hope this video sparks something in you. So go forth and create, and until next time, I bid you joy. Mocking up your markup, mocking up your markup.